Greetings to all of you, wherever you're listening from. I am Commander Bimal Raj, a TEDx speaker, internationally certified trainer and coach, mindset mentor, and a teen and parents coach. In this podcast, The Awkward Talks, I bring you topics that are usually considered taboo or are not discussed freely, but are some of the most pivotal things that we should be talking about. Hi there. I would like you to ask these questions to yourself. Do you have a partner or a friend who exhibits some of the following? First, is your partner difficult to read and you have to guess what they are feeling or thinking? Do they become evasive, defensive, or even angry when you bring up your feelings? Do they minimize what you're feeling and accuse you of getting too emotional when you're upset? Do they seem emotionally distant and avoid making commitments, especially about something in your relationship? Well, to be honest, I am one of those people who are not very comfortable talking about or expressing my feelings and emotions. So in this episode, I will be talking about people like me and look at why we are not good at expressing emotions. It could be due to our cultural setup, could be a gender bias, or it could even be due to a very interesting but misunderstood condition that we could be suffering from. Now, even though in this episode I'm primarily speaking to men, please remember that in today's world, the gender divisions and roles have collapsed, and this is applicable to many women also. Now, there are two aspects to this. First is about people being emotionally unavailable, majority of this being men, and then there is emotional blindness, which is a medical condition. Let me first talk about men being emotionally unavailable. Now, when it comes to emotions, unfortunately, expectations from men and women are different. Women are considered the most sensitive gender, and therefore it is not only acceptable, but it is kind of expected from them to express their feelings. However, when it comes to men, they have a subconscious tags of being strong and fearless attached to them, and therefore they are not expected or even encouraged to outwardly express their emotions, especially when they are vulnerable. Now, for generations, there have been cultural norms and gender stereotypes that is conveyed in different forms that shows that men who express their emotions are seen as weak. In India, kam bolna, or in other words, frugal speech, is considered more masculine and macho, and hence it is seen as more a desirable trait in men. Now, ladkiyon ki tarah kyun rota hai? Or in English, why are you crying like a child? That's a regular instruction or even insult that is given to a boy who is crying due to pain. Plus, many men believe things like these. There is no point talking about emotions. It will make me appear weak and emotional. I don't need to speak to anyone. I can figure things out myself. And they believe these and many more similar thoughts. Now, why are men bad at expressing their emotions? Now, first is social conditioning. Now, traditionally, man has been viewed as a protector, a guard, so that he must stay strong come what may. He should not appear weak by crying in front of others. In fact, boys grow up listening to statements like, "Don't cry, suck it up, boy, be strong, keep moving, man up." Another reason could be evolution. Now, interestingly, evolution also plays a part. Now, since ages, it has been earmarked for men to be the providers and women to be nurturers. Now, right from the early ages when we lived in caves, a man's role was to hunt and provide food for the family. Men would hunt during the day and sit by the fireside at night relaxing. They didn't really need to develop their emotional acumen. Today, it's the same as them going to work during the day and then plopping in front of the television in the evening to relax. Now, while the men went out to hunt, the women stayed back to look after the babies and care for them. So they developed heightened sense of understanding of their baby's emotions and cries. Today, when a baby cries, most men are clueless about why they are crying, but women seem to instinctively know why. Similarly, most men can't make out if their spouse is upset about something without having a conversation, and some even after having a conversation. But all wives seem to know immediately if their husband is upset, even if it's just a little bit. Next, childhood and upbringing. Now, another reason for this unavailability could be due to a tough childhood, unhealthy home, and school atmosphere. From bullying at school to facing the daily mother-father fights, the child gets emotionally drained to the extent that in the later stages of their life, they feel devoid of them. Next, celebrating the bad boys. The movies and the media showcase bad boys as celebrity poster boys. In fact, many have worked hard to build that bad boy image. And the bad boy is more famous with the girls and many times is their preferred option. Unfortunately, many girls and even women tend to take it as a challenge to try and tame such a man. Next, lack of self-esteem. Self-esteem has a major role to play in shaping one's life. And the lack of self-esteem leads to a rather sad life because the person can't respect themselves, doesn't stand up to their values and beliefs, and often ends up with feelings of insecurity. It just gets hard for them to love themselves and express their emotions freely. Next, breakups or rejections. Now, those people who have faced rejections in their lives find it really hard to trust someone again later in their lives and be vulnerable or show their emotions to other people. Interestingly, many Indian philosophical texts and scriptures say that emotions spring from desires, and desire is caused by a sense of imperfection, incompleteness, or non-fulfillment that is felt within oneself. Due to this, desires and therefore emotions were considered as a weakness and not a strength. Now, there are probably more, but these are some of the major reasons why people are emotionally unavailable due to environment and culture. Now, what can you do if your partner is emotionally unavailable? Well, to start with, you should know how they are wired. They could have been brought up with boys don't cry mentality. They may be like me, who withdraw into a shell till I figure out a solution to something that is bothering me. During this time, any attempt to make us talk may be considered an intrusion and we may retaliate. Now, this doesn't mean that we are incapable of connection. We just need some time alone to process our thoughts. In the book Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus, author John Gray calls it retreating into a cave. Next, do talk about it and let them know without blaming them how their emotional distance is affecting you. Next, don't try to diagnose the cause of your partner's emotional detachment. Just focus on behaviors you have observed. For example, you could say, "You seemed like you've been really stressed lately." Or even, "Things lately seem different with you." Next, don't ambush them and tell them you need to talk to them right away. Just indicate that you would like to talk so that they have a chance to prepare mentally and emotionally. Next, give them space. Don't issue an ultimatum to open up. Take a step back after you share. Give them the space they may need so that they can respond. Next, be gently direct. This works beautifully with me. Give your spouse or partner gentle, positive prompts. That may be all they need to jump into action. For example, you can say, "Kiss me. I need a hug. Come and sit with me. Give me some positive feedback." Things like that. Next, encourage them with little cues, even if it's a small gesture. For example, you can tell them, "Thank you for telling me that you love me this morning. That really made me feel special." And say it with genuinity, not sarcastically, okay? Next, most important, take care of yourself. Be mindful of how the other person's distance is affecting you. If a partner or loved one shows no interest in becoming more emotionally available, or if they resist all your efforts to change things, it may be time to let go of the relationship, depending on how bad it is. Now let me talk about a personality trait that is characterized by their inability to recognize, understand, or express emotions. It's like an emotional blind spot. Now this is a fascinating and often misunderstood condition called alexithymia. It's often referred to as emotional blindness. Now, alexithymia is not a well-known term, but it's a concept that affects many lives. People with this condition struggle to label their own feelings, and it makes it very challenging to communicate and connect emotionally with others. Now, there are 3 subtypes that you need to consider. First, cognitive alexithymia. In this, people can't identify or describe their emotions accurately. Second, affective alexithymia. Here, they can identify emotions, but they struggle to express them. Third, operational alexithymia. In this subtype, They can't access their own emotions even though they can express them. Now, alexithymia can vary from person to person, and not all individuals with this condition will exhibit the same characteristics or experiences. Now, some classic examples of people with this condition are: first, when somebody shares good or bad news, they reply with neutral comments that comes across as uncaring and totally unemotional. Second, they may have frequent headaches, stomach aches, etc., especially when they are in stressful conditions. This is their body's way of reacting to unexpressed emotions. Third, some people genuinely don't know what they are feeling, so when asked how they are feeling, they simply reply, "I don't know." Fourth, light conversationalists. Now, these are people who will only talk about superficial stuff like weather and daily stuff. They just refuse to talk anything deeper about themselves or even listen to deep personal conversations of others. Now, how can you recognize alexithymia in yourself or others? Well, it's not always easy, but there are some signs to watch out for. First, difficulty expressing feelings, naturally, okay? Second, limited vocabulary for emotions. Third, a preference for practical discussions over emotional ones. Fourth, physical symptoms without emotional awareness, like I mentioned, headaches or stomach aches during emotionally stressed conditions. Now, it is estimated that only about 10% of the world population suffers from this condition, even though you may feel that most men suffer from this. Now, what can you do if you feel that you or your partner has this medical condition? Now, the good news is that alexithymia can be managed. There are several coping strategies that include, first, therapy, obviously. CBT or cognitive behavioral therapy can help you and your partner recognize and express their emotions. Second, mindfulness. Practices like meditation and mindfulness exercises can improve emotional awareness. Third, journaling. Keeping an emotions journal can help track and understand feelings. Fourth, counseling together. Some people will need a therapist support to learn how to be more emotionally available. Here, counseling can help them recognize and communicate their feelings as well as recognize other people's emotions. Now, the fact is that we all have emotions, and thankfully, these days the ideal metrosexual man is not someone showing toxic masculinity like the olden days, but someone who's not afraid to cry or show emotions. I'm sure this will only help people with difficulty expressing emotions to bring their guard down. Now, if we can be genuinely caring for our loved ones and be willing to be vulnerable, not worried or scared to express our feelings and emotions, then we would be in a much better, happier, and a peaceful place. Now, if you like our podcast, please do rate it so that more people might listen to it. Do share this with others. Trust me, there would be many out there frustrated with the emotional unavailability of their partners. Please don't forget to click on the follow button so that you don't miss any of our episodes. This is Commander Bimal Raj, and I will be back soon with another awkward talk.